Hi, my name is Jordan Doww. I play young Colton on The Way Home, and you're watching Young Entertainment. Is this on? Oh, hi, Eli. Thanks for FaceTiming me.
Oh my gosh, thanks for picking up. We're so excited to do this.
Me too.
We here at Young Entertainment are all about masterclass moments and learning from talent in the field, such as yourself. So a lot of our questions are going to be coming from the process of the industry and the process of filming the show that you're in. So we want to start at the beginning and just ask, what was the audition process like? Looking back, was there anything different about this particular audition where you could say, oh yeah, I like knew the whole time that this was my role, or I can pinpoint a moment where I was like, oh yeah, I definitely got this.
I'll tell you, with everything I've ever auditioned for and everything I've booked, it was always a weird gut feeling. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. Maybe I'm a little psychic. I don't know. Got like a Raven Simone thing going on. But who knows? But yeah, like I said, every role I've ever gotten, there's always been a little inkling, but that doesn't uh make the audition process any easier. It actually maybe adds more stakes because you really want to nail it.
Uh-huh.
Um, but that also it's also worth noting that like sometimes the audition is just an introduction, and you could do the audition or the self-tape completely wrong, and then if they see an essence of you or if there's a vibe about you that kind of matches what they're looking for, a director will come in and on a callback or a director's session, they'll kind of piece together and direct you like the way they would on set. So for example, on this show, when I got the audition for young Colton for The Way Home, I mean, I did not do the tape how I did it in the show. I did it completely differently. I played it a little um more awkward and shy, and I guess a little dorky, I guess. I don't know. But come to find out, Colton Landry is a very cool, sly, confident guy. And I was told that in the director callback session. So yeah, again, it's like there's always an essence. So, it's always worth going to that audition. It's always worth putting yourself on tape because you might not fit that role, you might fit another role. And just because you didn't get that role doesn't mean you're a bad actor. It's because there's a certain, these creators have an image already of who they're looking for. So it's never based on talent or how you did it. Like it should not be that stressful. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love the way that you look at it in the sense of like an audition is an introduction. Like it shouldn't
Yeah, yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
like low. It shouldn't be like nerve-wracking, which it totally
Yeah.
is, and it's totally okay if that's the way you have to process it. But it is an introduction, and it doesn't have to be this, just to be like, hey, this is me, and here's something that I can bring to the story that you're trying to portray. I love that mindset.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I mean, I'm also when I say this, I'm also talking to myself because I get very nervous. I get very nervous. Like my legs shake and my adrenaline is like so pent up. I remember when I did the director callback session, when I ended the call, I like had to do like a full body. I had to dance it out. I was shaking. And
so
it's
real.
again, it's like it's an introduction, it's an interview, it's whatever. Like as much as you can breathe and sit into it and be a real human, you're gonna do great.
Uh, I love that. Come on, this is
Yeah.
great. Um, So I'm curious, do you remember where you were when you found out that you got this, and what was that kind of moment like for you? Was it again like different from other roles that you've gotten, or was it kind of just like, oh my gosh, when do we start? Like this is great. Let's get the ball rolling here.
I'll be honest. I was celebrating the release of my recent film Ganymede. It came out August 1st.
Yeah.
I was auditioning for this all of July, and then I got the role maybe like August 6th. And all this is going on, and I like lost a job of mine in the spring. So this week I was door dashing, and I was on the road picking up somebody's Dave's Hot Chicken, and I get a call from my agent, and he's like, "Dude, you booked. You're getting the offer." And I went. I looked at the person's order. I went, "I'm going home." I thought I dropped the order off. I dropped the order off. Then went home, freaked out, took a nap, and it's been a dream since. I mean, I truly, it's not lost on me like how lucky um I am to have had this land in my lap, and a lot we all feel that way. So it's this project was a dream come true, and it kind of came at like a really cool time too, especially like the industry is a little bit hard to predict right now, and it's just awesome to have a job, you know?
Yeah. That is like so iconic. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just like what a story that you were just door dashing, like respect. Like, because you gotta pay the bills when we're not booked. But Homeboy is booked and busy, it sounds like. I mean, he was literally you were
We
celebrating
weren't.
but you were celebrating a launch of a movie like that. That's so sick. And then, just go to your next TV show, like it is so incredible.
Well, that kind of just goes to show you too, like it's really, you know, actors kind of get put on this pedestal, but it's really like some of us still have day jobs. Like some of us still have,
Yeah.
all of our bills to pay. And like, I feel very lucky and honored to be in the position I am in now, but you know, we're not always guaranteed the next gig. And so, it's always this ebb and flow of like, identity crisis almost of like, no, I am an
Yeah.
actor, but also like I also have bills to pay and like a normal life to live.
Totally. It could be a scary
So,
thing, and it's a very real
yeah.
thing. And I also feel like that's where the actors get so much imposter syndrome from, because it's just like,
Oh, dude.
it's like, holy moly, like, when is the next job coming? Like, am I in the right spot? Like, should I be doing this? It's so real. So, totally makes sense. And, I respect actors so much because I don't know anybody in the world that hustles more than like us.
Yeah. No, it's a hustle and
It,
it's a lot.
it really is. Well, I'm curious because this show, kind of, well, I guess your character exists in a different time period because you're back in the 70s. So as like an actor, we've actually had this conversation with other actors. There were moments where, someone was filming and their story took place in the 70s or 60s perhaps, and it was like they couldn't fist bump. They tried to do it on set, and then some guy came in that was on set and was like, "Hey, that wasn't a thing back then. Do another take." Was there anything like that on set, or perhaps you had to change your look in some way? Just from you being in that time period?
Yeah, it's interesting because like they in the 70s they kind of had like different lingo, like they say groovy and
Oh
that's so
yeah.
far out, man. Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, they just had they just had different lingo, and we had to definitely kind of adapt to it. And yeah, like you said, like there's there's one scene where I'm kind of like saying hi to one of my best friends, and the handshake or the fist bump had to be changed because they didn't do that. And
Right.
that's just things you don't think about because it's so second nature to us. It's not even a thing we think about. But it wasn't too hard because we always had people around us correcting us, and like thankfully like a lot of our crew grew up in the 70s, so it's like second nature to them, and like here we are like we have no idea. But
Right.
yeah, I had like long hair at the time too, and I remember I was gonna say this earlier. I remember when I was auditioning, I had sent, because they had sent a picture of older Colton, Jefferson Brown, and I was like, I feel like I could look like him if I cut my hair. And I told my agent, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't have time to get a haircut before this audition. And when I sent it in, they sent me a message back and they said, do not cut your hair. Because I
I
sent a
love
note. I
that.
was like, they're like, do not cut your hair. And I was like, okay. And then come to find out they like, the 70s, they had kind of the shaggy hair, and we had like the
Yeah.
bell-bottom jeans. The wardrobe department was incredible on this show. Yeah.
I love that. It's so funny when you say that because I always like see things and hear from actors that like it's almost better to have longer hair because it's so much easier to cut it rather than like have them make a whole wig, from like scratch or something.
Well, okay, so that's what they were going to have to make a wig had I cut my hair. They were gonna have to do that. But
Yeah.
yes, you're right. So much easier. Yeah, I always like I every single year I ebb and flow between short hair and long hair. I don't know why I do that, but I just can't make up my mind. Like my hair looked like yours
Oh my
um
God.
months ago.
Play.
And I love long hair, But yeah, I'll say this though, for auditions it's weird because you kind of have to give them the look that they're looking for. But yeah, like I said, sometimes it is the essence, and then they'll change it accordingly
I love
if
it.
they
Well, hey, it worked out, right? If it's meant to be, it'll be meant to be.
very
It was a happy mistake that you couldn't get a haircut before the audition. It was great.
exact. I'm telling you, everything about this project was fate, I think.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's when you
yeah,
know it's right. It is.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm curious because I wonder if you had to sing for this audition. Was that a part of the process at all? Did you have to find out a little bit later that maybe singing was more part of the gig, or like how did that go down for you?
Look, it's been a dream of mine to do Glee, Smash, High School
Of
Musical, the
course.
series. Like that was dream role. Dream role to do act like to act in something and and do music in it. What? Dream. When I got this audition, I didn't know that it would be so music heavy. So I just thought, oh, this was a one-off scene where he is serenading her. And I didn't know how to play guitar. And I didn't really know the song that well, the Waterloo by ABBA. I know ABBA, but I didn't like know the words too well.
Come on.
So I had to learn it, and then like I didn't know how to play guitar, so I literally just would strum one chord and find my note, and then sing it out. But I did it all from a place of like jokiness and fun and like making fun of, but making it a cute gesture for her. But I did not know before
Wow.
booking the role that it would be so music heavy. So then when I booked the role, I get to Toronto. The first thing they have me do is go into the recording studio, and I'm recording three songs. And I'm like, oh, this is sick. I'm a little nervous, but this is sick because now I realize I'm singing on television,
Yeah.
and was not mentally prepared for that. But, you know,
Wow.
like now that it's all said and done, I mean, dude, it's been a dream. Like, oh, it's been a dream.
So you did have to sing Waterloo for the audition then.
Yeah, so Waterloo was the audition scene, like when
Great.
we leave the boat, and yeah. But I was
I
like,
love that.
Waterloo, how did you won the war? One chord.
Wow. Hey, it
Yeah,
worked.
yeah. So I had to
Fake
learn
it
how to
till you
play
make
guitar
it.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So that really is
Not,
you
not
playing then.
no, but
Oh,
um it's okay. I am playing to the best of my ability, but for sake of sound and just selling it, the guitar is pre-recorded. But they did re-record some of the guitars to make it match me more because I really was playing. But,
okay.
every now and then I would skip a chord because I didn't know how to do it with my fingers, or some of them I
Got
couldn't
it.
sing and play at the same time. Actually, all of them.
Um,
Yeah, that's very hard to do. It's
yeah.
I don't get it.
Dang, that's intense, but
Yeah.
very cool because hey, movie magic. They made it work.
I
It
probably
looks
shouldn't have
awesome.
even said that. I probably shouldn't have even
Hey,
said that. Maybe it ruins the magic. I don't
it's
know.
okay.
Probably. All right.
It'll be great. Now we'll go and watch it back and be like, wow,
You're like,
okay,
oh, what
that's
a faker, what a yeah.
that ain't it.
Fake.
No, it'll be great. It's so good. It looks great, and that's all that matters because you fooled me.
Thank you.
So, hey, I'm sure
Thank you.
others were fooled too. Yeah, of course. And the songs are so good. It's so brilliant. The whole little playlist that they have in the show is so good. Do you know if like they'll like do like a little Spotify of the show?
I am begging them every day via email. I'm on it.
I think it
I
would be
don't know.
great.
I think it's out of my control and it's up to Hallmark. But I don't want to say too much and get anyone in trouble, but like it's like legal. It's like legal stuff with
Yeah,
songs.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
But
All
I'm
right.
trying.
Let me know
I'm
if you
trying.
need another signature. I'll sign the petition. I'm sure others watching will
All
too.
right, let's get one going.
We'll make it work. We'll make it happen. But come on, Mamma Mia is so iconic. So the fact that you get to sing Waterloo is pretty awesome for the audition, and you got to show off your singing chops and all that. Listen, there was in the show there was one of our favorite scenes at least was the pond scene. And honestly, like it kind of gave us, oh my God, it's like I just said that and you kind of got PTSD there. I'm sorry. But no, because it's kind of giving us Bridgerton vibes with the Jonathan Bailey and how he comes out. Yeah. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. How does
Yeah.
that whole thing go down? Like, how freezing are you? They have to have people on set where they're like lifeguards, I guess, when you're in the water? Do they have to know that you know how to swim? Like, is there any sort of like tests and stuff that they have to do to get all of that into a film?
Yeah, so right before I booked the role, the big question that kept going back and forth via email was like, can he swim? And I'm like, yeah, I can swim. Why are you asking me that? Like, I didn't know why I was getting asked that question.
Okay.
I had when I booked the role, so when I booked the role, I binged the show. I didn't know the show much prior to the initial audition.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a little bit to prepare, but then when I was waiting for the callback, I binged it and I was like, "Oh my God, this show is amazing. I'm obsessed." And I've watched it 6 times now. But I didn't know that Colton would know about the pond.
Mm,
So I didn't finish it through before I booked the role. So I'm like, I don't know why they're asking me that. Come to find out, Colton does know about the pond, but young Colton, as we know of so far, he doesn't travel. Like he knows about the pond though because of Grandma Fern and all the stories that have been passed down and told to him. It's like family lore,
right.
and they've known about it for a very long time. But to him, it's just like this um, made up story, and he does try it. But what's so interesting is like that scene. So many people thought that it because it was giving Bridgerton vibes. They were like, "Where did he come from? Where did he travel to?" But it's because it was
Yeah.
the funeral that I was trying to go. It was after the funeral that I was trying to go to save Rick. Anyway, yeah, no, on set there's pond specific days,
Oh,
and they are intense. It's strictly just pond days. You know, everyone's got their 1 to 3 hour, 4 hour time slot of the day. There's water safety, there's lifeguards,
okay.
there's stunt people,
Okay.
there's
Yeah.
stunt coordinators and stunt men and women. Um, uh, and lots of crew watching. And
Yeah.
we have like heated tents for quick changes and stuff because it is very, very cold. And you put your they give you wetsuits and stuff. Now that first that shot that you see of me walking out of the pond, I did not wear a wetsuit because I was like, it's 80 degrees outside, it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Canadians use Celsius, so they're like, what the heck?
Right.
That's I did not wear a wetsuit, and we had to do that scene a bunch. And if you guys remember it, like I was in the water and I slapped the water and then I walk up to the rocks. We had to redo that a lot because there was technical difficulties. So I was in that water for a really long time, and I was like freaking out. It was so cold. It was so cold. And I
Mm.
remember when I got out, I went straight to the warming tent, and I had to calm down for about 30 minutes. And we had a whole other, we had more scenes to do. We had scenes to do when Alice is confronting me about why I'm in the water. We had to postpone that for like an hour because I was so cold and shaking. I couldn't stop shaking.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, so there is a little PTSD there, but hey, we got through it, and now I am a part of the
Oh my word.
Pond Plunger Award. Yes, I'm now a part of the posse, and I feel very cool.
That's incredible. That should be the new like Emmy or like Oscar. Like one of the
Yes,
like they should add those into the category.
there's a little frog on it.
It's so cute. Are you kidding me? Were there any frogs in the pond?
Oh, there's a bunch. It's a real pond.
Oh my
It's
God.
real.
I would
So
have died.
just goes to show you that it's really cold.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would be terrified if I'm just in the pond and then like all of a sudden I'm like feeling a frog like start swimming up to
Yeah.
my leg or something. Like, no. Oh my
I
God.
also think
Wild.
I also think I swallowed or inhaled water because I got really sick after.
Well, it could
Yeah,
be
I
the fact
inhaled
that you
some.
were freezing for an hour
Yeah,
too.
true. True.
I mean, oh my God, brutal. But hey, you survived. Worth it because it's one of our favorite scenes. I'll
Oh,
say it again.
oh,
Like
so
it
worth
came
it.
out so awesome. But wow, that's insane. And I don't know, like that stuff always like I like to think about that stuff when I watch things. So like I like to bring it up because I'm sure like my parents or my siblings, they're like, why would they need like all these other people for that scene? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like because legally and all these things. So like my mind starts racing. So I love to hear like the stories of like having lifeguards and then stunt women and stunt people like in general. It's
Yeah,
pretty interesting just how that all
yeah,
goes.
yeah.
Um, you actually have a bit of a trend with water because the movie, yeah, I'm sorry. It's like you can't get away with it. It's like it's probably on your
No, I
resume
can't
as
get
a
away from
special.
water.
You should add it to the resume as a special skill for sure. Just water expert at this point.
Literally.
What is it like? Is there an added element, I guess, of just like does it almost become like a scene partner, I guess, like the water, because you have to, it's just an element and it can be unpredictable, of course, like with the weather, it could be, like you said, pond specific days. Like, just how, I guess, does that differ to a typical day on set working in a water?
It's it's the more careful day
Okay.
because, like you said, like there's a lot more stuff. There's a lot more things at stake, and
Okay.
something could go wrong, and they sometimes do. And so there's people and things in place to facilitate if that does happen. Um, and a great team makes sure whatever does happen gets resolved and worked through. So that's a good thing. But yeah, that's a good way that you said that. Like it's like a scene partner because it's unpredictable and you kind of just really have to tap into yourself and just know like do it for the vine, if anyone remembers that.
Right.
Yeah, no, literally like do like it's for the project and you know, I want to do this and I'm
Yeah.
prepared for it. And I'll say this though, Ganymede was a bit trickier though because I had to stay underwater,
Yeah.
but that one was a more controlled environment. Like we were in a pool with tarp
Oh,
that blacked out the bottom, so we made it really look like a murky. And
okay.
they do that for the way home too. Any underwater shots are in a pool. Those are really controlled settings, but Ganymede was harder though because I had to stay underwater for like a little bit of time and even wear a mask and wrestle underwater, and that was a little scary because uh again with some of this stuff I do try to be a hero and like really push my body a little bit too far sometimes, but no, I was very supported and stuff like that, and if
Holy
there was
moly.
any that was a little too much, I just got air, asked for help, and then we moved on.
Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering because, like, it is obviously, just part of the filming process where it's just like you can do multiple takes. So, like, do you kind of rely on that, or are you just so much in, like, hey, I'm committing to the bit where you're just like, literally, like, no, if I need to stay down here for a minute, I'm counting to 60 in my head and I'm going to try to hold my breath as long as I can, or is it just like, I just have to listen to my body and just see how it goes?
Both. I mean, it's nice to know that there is going to be multiple takes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, again, with like technical stuff, and again, there's so much more at stake in a single take. But as the actor, it does help to know that there's multiple takes. But
Mm.
then, yeah, it's like also I really just have to listen to my body um, and do what I can. Um, there's been many situations where like actors are allowed to say like when something is too far or too much. Like there are things in again, like I said, people and things and people in place to facilitate stuff like that. So if there were if there was any situation where like I couldn't handle it, a stunt person would fill in.
Okay.
And they do. They do. Like we do takes with the stunt person too. So it
Right.
just a matter of like I'll do two takes, the stunt person will do two takes. It's like that.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
fascinating. I love all of
I
this.
know, right?
Yeah, it's so cool. I'm such a nerd when it comes to this stuff. Sorry, I could talk about it all day. I'll move on. So I'm curious because you're obviously your scenes are flashbacks. And seeing like the younger versions of the characters that are in the show. So I'm curious, like you have a few scenes with Devin. I don't even want to try to pronounce the last name, but she plays teenage Evelyn. And y'all have such a great bond and like it seems so natural that really encapsulates like the reality of like oh yeah like these two definitely like grew up together and they trust each other. So and then of course same with Julia who plays teenage Dell. Y'all have like an intimate scene together, so like I'm curious, how does that sort of chemistry get built? Is that something that you work on set? Is that something that you like to do offset? Maybe after it wraps, you go have dinner? Like what is the process of just like forming those relationships that can really, come out on screen?
I like to start those relationships before production. So
Oh,
thankfully they were on board and we all got like a little sushi dinner before production started, at least for us, the 70s crew. And I mean we hit it off right away. Like we knew what we were getting ourselves into. We knew the dynamics and yeah, I mean we became like a little friend. Like we instantly made a group chat. We became besties really
oh,
quick.
good.
And yeah, like it's funny too, because the dynamic you see on screen is very much the dynamic in real life too. Like Devin and I have this very high energy, fun, uppity energy that we just bounce off one another. And then Julie and I have a very grounding, more intimate kind of vibe going on because yeah, I felt more grounded with her to do that stuff with. And it's just like everyone is so their character. It's crazy. It's wild sometimes how casting works because usually people are exactly their character. And it's like I understand why you booked that.
I love that's great. I mean, it makes our
Yeah.
jobs easier, right?
Yeah.
Um, you can totally tell though that like y'all are friends in real life, like all of you guys, because there is something that I guess should be said for like people where you can watch a show and be like, oh my God, that feels so natural and real. And then there's other times where it's like, oh, this is a little not believable.
Nothing there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like where's the chemistry? No shade, no shade. But
yeah.
y'all
Full
ate
shade.
and um but no, y'all
Thank
ate and
you.
it was just so believable and like totally like every time y'all are in the on the screen it's just like you get lost into it and it's so great. So props to you guys for doing the work both
I'll,
on screen and outside of filming.
Thank you. I'll say this, Sadie, who plays Alice, I mean, she really set the bar for us. I mean, she made sure that we felt very comfortable and that there was this ease into this
So
production. I mean, like
important.
TV is such a machine. There's so many moving parts, and it's like, all right, you're on set, film your first scene. And we were like, what? Okay, God. And I mean, she made us feel really at home on the way
That's
home.
great.
And it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard to really fall in love with these characters, with each other.
Yeah, that makes such a huge difference too. So that's great to hear. Um, I have one last question for you, and then I'll get to fan questions, and then I'll let you go. Um, I have to talk to you about your original songs because we here at Young Entertainment are obsessed with them.
Oh, thank
We
you.
we want more in the future, just to let you know we're fans. So I'm curious, when it comes to like music, which now you're showing the whole TV world that you're musically inclined and super talented. What kind of music do you like to write about? Like, what excites you the most? What stories do you like to tell through your music? Can you just like, I don't know, give us a little tease or anything?
Um, okay, so from the bat, I got into music because I got into music around 2020. I was going through a lot with mental health, and I needed like a creative outlet that wasn't so front facing, if that makes sense. Like
Totally.
I'm used to the stage, I'm used to YouTube, I'm used to this a camera, and I needed some kind of creative outlet that was like more private. And so, my neighbor at the time was, an upcoming producer, and we kind of just in the pandemic just started messing around, and I fell in love with the process. It was so cathartic. I'm like, who needs therapy when you can write music and make music? And that's honestly the birth of Landslide. That was the birth of Had Enough. That was the birth of Worship the. It's the birth of all my music so far. And so to answer your question, I think most of my music is about love and heartbreak and mental health. And yeah, there's something really healing about it for me. And honestly, like I miss it a lot. I haven't worked on much music besides this show. I do have a song that's done, and I just need to make a video for it, and it's coming out. It's my favorite song yet. I just
Oh
have to
my
get
God.
it. I just have to do it. I just have to get it done. Like it's done. It's done. I just need a video and artwork. So I'm hoping that gets released sometime soon. But yeah, music is, I mean, my favorite thing. I do feel a little bit of a like I do have a little bit of imposter syndrome and feel a little hypocritical sometimes with music because I'm still learning it,
Sure.
yet I have music out, but I also didn't want that to stop me from creating. And no artist
Absolutely
should
not.
let that happen, like do that. You know what I mean?
I say it all the time. Like actors, I'm sure there was something on this set that you learned, even though you've been on however many sets before. Like to be a good, I guess, artist in general, like you never stop learning and you never stop
Right.
like inviting those lessons into your like mind and into your mindset. So that's great. And that's so great to hear. So excited that you have another original and all you need is the video. Um, we'll be on the lookout for it and we'll promote it, all the things. We're pumped. Very exciting stuff. Okay, well, I have two fan questions for you, and then I'll let you go. We had a lot of actual responses into this week's interview, so very exciting. So shout out to Mary.Rose.C, who asked, what kind of direction do you get on set to replicate adult Colton's patterns and mannerisms? Great question.
That is a good question. I'll tell you this. The only thing that I was told um, in terms of performance was drop lower into the voice and be cooler. That's pretty much all I
Ooh.
was like some takes I'd be a little too Jordan and I'd be a little too silly. Um, and I had to remember like he's down here and he's a cool guy and but that was it. I mean it was I think we have just generally the same kind of vibe, but I also did watch the show 3 times at that point, and I really studied Jefferson's kind of overall vibe. I didn't like sit there and practice his voice the way that maybe I should have, but I didn't want to drill it too hard so that it was a caricature. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you don't want it to be like a distraction to you. At the end of the day, like the most important thing is the story and like what you're trying to tell in the scene.
Yeah.
So I love that. Kudos to you. Hey, even though it must be natural just from watching, because there were definitely times where it was like, oh my God, he's standing the same exact way, or he's
That's
doing
so
this thing
funny.
with
That's
his
so
arm.
cool.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. So I was like, that question was like totally on point. Um, also one last one, Hattie_S, not with D's, T's. Asked, what is your favorite thing about The Way Home? So overall,
Oh
what is your favorite thing?
gosh, my favorite thing about The Way Home is how healing this show is. I mean, I got to watch this with my parents, with my family, and it's just such a family-oriented, multi-generational healing show that like has just been again like a dream come true, a dream project. There's something so uniting about this show. It tackles everything. Loss, grief, uh love, first love, family, heal. Like there's just so much to it that it's a lot. It makes you feel good. So that's my favorite thing. My favorite thing is just to be a part of something that's so important to people, and honestly has become important to me and my family too. I could never thank the creators of this show enough for that, and them too. This whole team is just a dream. I mean, everyone is so loving and so supportive. I've never felt it that this much before on
Yeah.
a set. So
I love that. That's so great to hear. But
yeah.
it's so true. Like this show is so special because it's so relatable to so many. And even though
Yes.
one topic may not be relatable, like there's the next episode is, like it's just it's for everybody and it's I don't know, it low key feels like therapy. But
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
it's so great. Like
You
you
and I
said,
need to go to
healing.
therapy, clearly.
PTSD. No, we're great. Cool. Well, Jordan, this has been an absolute blast. I can't thank you enough for doing this. People are going to be so excited for this interview, so I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. What the heck? This was so fun. I'm Jordan Dow. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Young Entertainment.